and there's 3 levels to, I talked about 5 levels before, when you judging, thinking, believing, knowing, understanding, wisdom. But there's 3 levels to the root cause of an action. So you have the action here. I take this action because I believe something to be true about myself or about the environment, about the surroundings. And I believe what I believe because I have a reason to believe what I believe. So you have the action, the belief, and the reason for the belief. So to just give you a simple illustration of what I mean, just to paint the picture. You have 2 people that comes from outside and then they get home. One washes their hands and the other does not. So the action is from person A, he washes his hands. Why? Because he believes that his hands are dirty from outside. He has touched handles, he has touched whatever, the steering wheel of his car, a bunch of things. So he doesn't want this bacteria on the things that are clean in his house. So he takes the action of washing his hands because he believed the things that I just told you. Why does he believe those things that I just told you? Maybe because underneath it he had parents that were on him from the jump, from an early age, about cleanliness, for instance. Then you have person B, and he has carried it with him until adulthood. I'm like that. I'm like that. My mother was on me when it comes to cleanliness. So, but you have to regulate it to a healthy level if your parents are too extreme in a sense. Because everything that is like too extreme, too radical, I don't know what what fancy word you wanna put on it, yeah, can become unhealthy, obviously. So yeah, and then person B, he walks inside from outside and does not. That's his action or inaction. He does not wash his hands. Why? Because he does not believe it to be a priority. It's not important to him. Why? Because maybe he didn't have parents that told him to wash his hands all the time when he was young. So it's completely normal. But you see, this is just a very, very simplistic, very simple analogy, a very simple metaphor, just to paint the picture. And you see, the thing is, we go through these stages completely asleep, hopelessly unaware. Hopelessly unaware, we go through it without knowing this police work, the tracking of each stage. We're not, I mean, we do it automatically, subconsciously. And I'm just making the subconscious conscious. That's the Lord. He's just many things. He does many things. He does all things. But one of the very things he does is that he shines light on the darkness. That's why the darkness is not a fan. He shines light on our darkness. That's why you're looking at me, but I'm looking through you. I'm completely armed spiritually. You're undressed. I can see through you. I see your inner being. How? How can that be? Because the Lord God Almighty himself showed me how filthy I am on the inside. He showed me how naked I am. He showed me the dirt. And when you see it in yourself, you can see it in others easily. It's not about judging, no. It's about observing. It's about being attentive. It's about being sensitive. You notice everything. You can notice everything without saying a word. That's why the Greek mathematician Pythagoras, probably butchering his name, Pythagoras, talked about that the fool is known by his speech and the wise by his silence. And you say, but Michael, you have been speaking for I don't know how long. All you do is speak. Yes, but that's why this is called the inevitable reveal. This is me speaking after having been silent for half a decade. The Lord changed the whole world in 3.5 years after being hidden for 3 decades. And yeah, where wisdom reigns, there's no difference between thinking and feeling. Carl Jung, my boy CJ, again. I'm going to quote him more and more throughout this podcast for each episode we go through. And that's why, again, St. Paul, if any of you think yourselves to be wise relative to this current age, you must become fools that you may become wise. Yeah, no. And speaking of wisdom, King Solomon, again, another another verse that I just remembered, speaking of free will, and that we don't have any, is that when he talks about a man's steps are ordained by the Lord, so how can a man understand his own way? Where's the free will? So yes, we have and we don't, depending on the lens. And by the way, when I talked about how Satan, if he was a bad liar, life would be easy, and it's unfortunately short term, but fortunately long term. It's fortunately long term because after you have been absolutely barbecued in the fires of hell for years on end without seeing any results, you will thank the Lord. You will thank the Lord afterwards that he made you go through it, because you will come out a different man. The Joseph that went into the pit is not the same Joseph that came out of the pit as king, prime minister, governor, only second in name on paper only to Pharaoh. We're gonna speak about that in a different episode too, because that's one of my favorites. That is one of many people's favorites. It is so inspiring, so yeah. So you have to have faith, like we spoke about, and do not believe the fear tactics, the fear propaganda of the evil one. Job, that which I fear the most has come upon me. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. Everybody wants a Ferrari. But to get a Ferrari, you have to be a Ferrari. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. According to your faith, so be it unto you.